Welcome to the Math Record. Today we'll be covering the CCML Geometry Division A Contest 1, year 2016-2017. This will be calculator okay, so you'll be able to use your calculator, obviously. Anyways, let's begin. Find angle QRT in the diagram to the right. Since line QRS is a line, then it has to be 180 degrees. So this would tell me that 3n plus 10 plus n plus 8 has to be equal to 180 degrees. So this simplifies to 4n plus 18 equals 180. So 4n has to equal 162. So n is equal to 40.5. So we need to find QRT. So we need to plug in n into just this part. So 3 times 40.5 is 121.5 plus 10, which is 131. Sorry, 131.5 degrees. So that would be answer number 1. Pretty basic. And now question 2. Solve for x. X squared minus 5x minus 6 is equal to 0. So we should factor this out first. So what multiplies to 6 to negative 6 but adds up to negative 5? So the only one is x minus 6 times x plus 1 is equal to 0. Because that's x squared plus x minus 6x, so that makes negative 5, and that makes negative 6. So the answer is x is equal to 6, or x is equal to negative 1. So the answer is negative 1 or 6. Usually when I write these answers, I put negative 1 and then comma 6. Because sometimes the teachers might take off points because you write or if you write and or something, sometimes they do that. I mean the correctors, not the teachers. Sorry about that. Use the diagram to the right here, to answer items 3 to 5. If line where is AD is what is the union of line AD and angle BGC? So if it's a line and this angle, that means what we're looking for are points. So the only one that are intersecting is points E and F. So your answers would just be E and F. It's basically just that easy. You just have to learn your notations. Now, segment BG union GC union CB. What is the thing? It will be a triangle because the union of 3 lines, if they're all connected, is a triangle. So the triangle BCG or whatever way is orientated. So it's triangle CBG. It doesn't matter how it's orientated. It just has to be this triangle, and it has to use these 3 letters. Doesn't matter what orders. There's 6 orders or something, I think. Wait, no. Or 3, I don't know. It's just that you have to read it that way. Now angle 5. If angle AFG is 112 degrees, 38 seconds, and 52 milliseconds, basically, or however you say that. What is angle GFE? So since, like I said before, for question 1, it's a straight line. So we have to find the answer to this. To work with degrees, minutes, and seconds, what you need to do is that you need to start from all the way on the right to go to the left. So since it has to add up to 80 degrees, the first thing you have to write is 8 milliseconds. because it should be 60 milliseconds, and then to 60 seconds, and then to degrees. That's how it adds up. So 60 milliseconds equals 1 degrees. 60 milliseconds equals 1 second. 60 second equals 1 degree. So 8 plus 52 is 60. So that gets to one of them. So that will make 39. So 60 minus 39 is 21. So that'll make 21. 21 makes this to 60, so that add 1 here is 113. So 113 minus 180 is 67. So the answer is 67 degrees, is 67 degrees, 21 seconds, and 8 milliseconds. You had to write the notation, so put like 2 quotation marks behind the 8, and like 1 quotation mark behind the 21, and the and a degree sign in front of the 67, just so you get it right. This would be the hours, minute, and second hand. Hours, minutes, and second hand form. So that's basically what it is. There's 3 types of ways to write this. There's degrees, there is radians, and there's what I refer to as HMS, hours, minutes, and seconds. Sorry if I said like milliseconds. A right triangle is divided into 3 angles in ratios 2, 3, 4. Find the supplement of the largest of these angles. So it says it's a right angle is divided into 3 angles. So a right angle is 90 degrees. So since it has to be in 3 angles, so it's, let's say x is our constant, because we'll just write it like that. So it'll be 2x plus 3x plus 4x is equal to 90. So 2 plus 3 plus 4, that's 5, that's 9. That's 9x is equal to 90. So we had to scale all those numbers up by 10, basically. So we have a 20 degree, a 30 degree, and a 40 degree, which is true, because that's 20 plus 30 plus 40 is 90 degrees. So find the supplement of the largest of these 3 angles. 40 is our largest angle, so the supplement is 180 minus 40 equals 140. Because the supplement means that an angle plus another angle must be 180 degrees. So our answer is 140 degrees. Pretty simple questions so far. Okay. Question 7. Points A, B, C, D, and E are plotted from left to right on a number line, with C the midpoint of AE and BD trisecting AE. If the coordinates of C and D are 24 and 36, find the coordinates of A. So let's draw a picture of this first. So it's in line A and E. I usually just write the endpoints first. And let's see what they tell us. C is the midpoint of AE. So right here. So that's the midpoint. C. And B and D trisects AE. So it's going to be something like this. B and D. So, since I already know what this is, because here to here to here is all trisected, that means this is 1/3 of the length. This is 1/3 of the length. Since these 2 parts has to be equal, because because AC to CE is bisected, because that's what it says right here is the midpoint. That, and these AB to DE is equal. That means BC and CD has to be equal. Since this is trisected, that means this entire thing is 1/3. But since they're both equal, you just need to divide by 2, so it's 1/6. So both these sides are 1/6. So if the coordinates of C and D are 24 and 36, find the coordinate of A. So the coordinate C and D is just it's just from 12 away from 24 to 36. So that's just 1/6 away. And it's also 1/6 away from B to C. So you got a minus 12 here. So that becomes a 12. Right? Because 24 minus 12 equals 12. Now this is 100. This is 1/3, which is 2 times the distance from B to C. So instead of minusing 12, you're gonna minus 2 times the 12, which is minus 24. So A is at negative 12. That's where the location is. So for these type of questions, you just want to draw a picture and label out like the fractions, like the ratios of where it is at, and you'll get it right. Question 8. The perimeter of the triangle below is 16. Find the length of the triangle's shortest side. So let's find these first. So we have, so all these sides add together, it must be 16. So let's combine like terms first. You have a 3a squared. So that's the only one we have with the power 2. Then we gotta look for the linear. So that's negative 6 and negative 2, so that's negative 8. And you have a 3, a 7, and a 10. So that's a plus 20. Which has to equal to 16, because that's the perimeter. Now we subtract 16 from both sides. Plus 4 is equal to 0. So from here, I know it's 3a, a, and since this is positive and this is negative, both of them has to be negative. So it's negative 2 and negative 2. So let's see if that's correct. So that's 3a squared, that's negative 6, that's negative 2, that's negative 8, perfect, and plus 4. So this is true. So a is either equal to 2/3 or a is equal to 2. So we need to find out which one doesn't work. So if I put a as, usually the larger number is the one that doesn't work, because if there's subtractions, that's how it happens. So let's plug in 2 first. So you plug in 2 here, that makes 3. This would be positive because it's just positive overall. Put 2 here, it's not going to work because that's going to make negative 2. So a is not equal to 2. So a is equal to 2/3, basically. So let's plug this into all the values and see what is the smallest. So 7 minus 2 times 2/3 is 7 minus 4/3. We use our calculator for that because I don't want to do the math. 7 minus 4 divided by 3 is equal to 17 over 3. So that's our first side length. And 10 minus 6 times 2/3 is equal to 6. And 3 times 2/3 times 2/3 plus 3 is equal to 13 over 3. Sorry about that. Since 6 is just 18 over 3, the lowest side is 13 over 3. So that is the length of the shortest side, which you could just write as mixed fraction or like improper. I usually just write it as improper because like but it's gonna be right either way. So if you do it as mixed fraction, you just have to add extra step and you kind of like waste time. And I really don't want to based on like such a time test. Oh, sorry. And question 9. 5 angles have measures 30, 40, 45, 50, and 60. If 2 of the angles are selected randomly, determine the probability that there are complements. So what I'll do is that I'll look at all the angles, and I'll do every single combination or respectively. So what I'll do is like does 30 work with 40, 45, 50, and 90. So the only one that makes complements is 30 and 60. So that's already 1. So what's the probability? Then you look at 40. Now ignore 30 because you already got all the 30s. So 40, 45, 50, and 60. The only one that makes sense is 40 and 50. So that's another one. And now we look at 45. Since 45 could only add to 45 by itself, and you can't choose 45 twice, then you can't. So 45 doesn't work. So that's out. And now we have 50 and 60, which both can't be by itself. So in total, there's only 2 possible ways to get a complements. So how many ways can you get like out of 5 that you choose 2? So 5 choose 2 is basically just 5 factorial over 3 factorial over 2 factorial. Since 5 factorial is just 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, that means what is left with is 5 over 4. If you cancel out the 3 factorial on the top, then you just get 4 times 2 factorial. So that just leaves 20. So the probability is just 2 over 20, which is equal to 1/10, which is which is not right. Oh wait, no, never mind. I forgot, because it could be 30 and 60, or 60 and 30. So that's two of them. And then this could be 40 and 50, or 50 and 40. So that's two of them. So that's four. So that's 4 over uh so that's 4 over 20, and that makes 1 over 5, which is the answer. Sorry, let me like redo that. 4 over 20 equals 1 over 5. So that's one way to do it, which is just count the combinations. The only reason that I won't do it this way is that it's a longer way, and if there's too much combinations, like instead of like saying there's 5 angles, there's like 10 of them, then I won't do it. The only if it's 2 angles, if I choose 2 randomly, what I'll do is that I'll just do like the probability method. So I'll do is like, what's the since I know the only ones that are possible is 30 and what is it? 60 and 40 and 50. What's the probability that I'll get one of the angles first, which one of these four angles out of the 5 angles. So I need the probability is 4 or 5. Since that probability is already chosen, what's the probability that I choose that one angle that I need? Like if I chose 30, what's the probability that I chose 60? Or if I chose 40, do I choose 50? Or 50 if I chose 50, how do I get 40? Which is only one of the probabilities out of the 4. So think about it. If I chose 30 from the list of combinations, then I have left with 40, 45, 50, and 60. And out of that probability, what's the probability that I get 60, which is 1/4. So this is the probability that's correct. So that multiplies out to 1/5, right? Because there's 4 ways, because you want only one of the 4 here, and you don't want the 45. So this is the probability method for working with it, which is the faster method and the method that I'll usually use. Points JKM are midpoints of the sides of a triangle with area 48. What's the area of JKM? I guess you could draw the picture out on this. Usually I won't, but I'll just do it for you. So let's say we have a triangle and we have a midpoint right here, right? What's the area of JKM? So it's like right here. So the area is right here. So what you need to know about these is that if you do the midpoint of every single area, this area is 1/4 of the rest of the area. Because like, think about this logically. Like if you split this triangle in half, right? Then you're gonna be this half is equal to this half, because these have equal bases and this has the equal height. So this has the equal area. So basically but if you cut it right here, then this area has to equal this area. And you cut it right here, this area has to equal this area. So what it really does is that, let me draw a more clear picture, and you get the midpoints. What you really get is that you get like these 6 areas that have like I think they have the same area. So what do you do is that like when you put these 3 side lengths together, you kind of get like a fourth the area. But you also could just think logically of how it works, because it's just logically true if you just think about it. So what you do is that like, since you know the area is 1/4 of the entire area, you just have 48 times 1/4, which is equal to 12. So answer 10 would be 12. I think there is another way to think about the that triangle. So let me draw the points. So what another way to think about it is that you could just think about this triangle in relation to this entire triangle. Since this is the midpoint right here and here, that means this side length has to be this side length is half of this, and this side length is half of this. And these angles are um like kind of the same. Basically, what it's telling you is that this triangle is similar to this triangle, and since this is half of this, that means this area is 1/4 of this entire area. The same concept applies if you say this triangle versus this entire triangle. So this is also 1/4, and this is also 1/4. So the overall is this is also 1/4 because all has to add up to one area, right? Because it has to be it can't be like all these four areas add up to like 95% of the area, because where is that what's that left of the 5% at? So that's another way to just think about it. Usually for triangles like these, I mean questions like these, what you need to know is that just to know it, because if you don't know it, then good luck, I guess. I don't know. Find the acute angle formed by the hour and minute hand of an analog clock at 7:45. So at 7:45, you might be tempted to just calculate the area right then and say it's like a 40, like a 90-degree angle or something like that. I don't know, but this is 45, but it really isn't. If you ever see like angles, I mean like a clock, it's the minute hand is moving really slowly, even though the second hand is like moving like a one tick every single second, right? Then that uh the minute hand is also moving by like a really slow rate. You just don't see it, but it is moving. So the formula to calculate this is that like um what I'll usually do is that I'll think of a clock, right? And I'll think of the ticks, and there's 60 ticks because it's 1 to 60, right? So I'll do is that there's seven. It's at 7:45. So what I know is that like every single 60 minutes that a every single 60 minutes that a clock move that I mean that a minute hand moves, it a clock moves 1 hour, which is like 5 ticks because it has to go from one to like I mean 0 to 5, and 5 represents 1 hour, right, in the clock. So basically it's gonna have to move 60 ticks for the minute hand, for 5 ticks for the hour hand. So if this one moved 45, that means it's just 5 over 60 times 45. So which simplifies to, so 5 divided by 60 is 12. And so that's 112 times 45. 45 is just 3 times 15. So you divide by 3 here, that gets a 4. Divide by 3 here, that gets a 15. So that's 15 over 4. Plus, since 7 is just in, like, every single tick is 5, that means for our hand, that means you have to multiply this by 5. So that's 35 plus a 15 over 4. So 35 plus 15 over 4, use your calculator. You get 155 over 4. And for 45, that's just 45 ticks, right? So what it's telling me is that like since this is 6, then 7 is right here and 45 like right here. So you're just gotta look for this angle. So it's like the 45 minus the angle right there. So 155. So it's 45 minus 155 divided by 4, and you get 25 over 4. So that's the amount of ticks between them. Since you know that there's 60 ticks and in a circle is 360 degrees, that means each tick has to be 6 degrees each. So you just multiply 25 divided by 4 times 6, and you get an answer of 37.5 degrees. And that's how I work with it. I just think of the ticks, like how much it's moving. Okay. And let me delete this. Okay, question 12. In the diagram below, angle LNR equals 7y plus 10, and angle RNP is equal to 2x plus y. And angle M, which is angle KNL, is equal to 4x minus 8. Find the angle of angle LNR. So it's kind of when they're giving me 3 angles that are right next to each other, what's telling me is that they want to make a system of equations. So you want to make a supplementary and a vertical. So it's telling me L and R is 7y plus 10. So 7y plus 10 is equal to KNP. I mean, KNL. I mean, what? Which one did they give me? KNR, RNP, and KNL. Okay, so I'm gonna do the supplementary. I'll just do it for KLN, LNL. So right here. So sorry. So 7y plus 10 plus 4x minus 8 has to equal 180. And and angle LN KLN, which is 4x minus 8, has to equal to angle RNP, which is equal to 2x plus y. So what this is telling me is that 2x has to equal to y plus 8 for this one by just simplifying. Now I'm just gotta work on this one too. So this one would be 7y plus 4x. That makes 2, so that's 178 equals 178. So I'll substitute 2x back into here. So that's 4x, 2 times that, so that's 2y plus 16 equals 178. So 9y has to equal to 162. So y has to equal to 1. That makes 72, and that's 8. So y has to equal 18. So I have to find angle LNR. So I just need to plug 18 back into here. So 7 times 18 is 70. 7, 14, 20, 56. So 56 plus 70 is 126. Plus that extra 10 equals 136. So that's my answer. 136 degrees. Really that simple. So if you ever see those kind of angles, like questions, basically you just have to make a system of equations. And what if you, since they like give only like this type of pictures, what you do is just you make a supplementary and you do a vertical. I recommend not doing two supplementaries like this one and then this one, because it kind of like gives you like less time usually. That's what it does. Because you have to work 180 like twice. The length of a rectangle is 3x plus 4, and its width is 2x minus 1. If the area is 242, find the value of x. The area of a rectangle is just length times width, so it's just 3x plus 4 times 2x minus 1 equals 242. So that would make 6x squared. That's minus 3x. That's plus 8. So that's plus 5x. And that's minus 4 is equal to 242. Sorry, my handwriting is bad right now. But that makes 2x squared plus 5x minus 246 is equal to 0. So, since 246 is such a big number, what I'll usually do is that I'll just put it in my calculator. So, I'll just use the calculator function. Since you're allowed calculator on this, what I'll do, I'll just like make a graph and find out what this is equal to. So, so one of the answers is 6. So x is equal to 6, which is one of the probable answers. Now if I factor 6 out, 6 sorry. So that's 6 out of 24 would be 41. Wait. Since there's already a 6 here, that would be negative 36. So wait, negative 36 plus 41. So this would be like the two answers. It would be 6. So it should be factored out. So 6x squared, 41, negative 36. So that's 5, negative 246. Okay. So x equals 6, or x is equal to negative 41 over 6. Which is, it can't be this one, because this is already x times 2 minus a negative. So if x is negative, then this can be overall negative, and you can't have a negative width. So the x value would just be 6. So the answer would just be 6. If you use your calculator, you could just like get both answers. So it would just work that way. I used a particular calculator, so it only gave me one answer. So I had to find the other one. But anything to show you guys, I guess. Not really that hard though. So if angle A is an acute angle measuring x degrees, find the set of all values of x such that 2/3 of the supplement of A is also an acute angle. So A is an acute angle. So sorry, A has to be less than 90 so far. So find the set of all such that 2/3 of the supplement of x, I mean A, the supplement of A is just 180 minus A. So 2/3 of that, it's also an acute angle, so it's less than 90. So times 3/2 from both sides. That makes a 45 times 3, which is 135. And then you subtract 135 from both sides, so that's 45. So A has to be greater than 45. So it has to be 45 less than A, less than 90. Because you have to remember this one here, so it has to be both these inequalities together. So this would just be the answer from 45x to 90. So it's really that easy. A triangle and a circle intersects at n distinct points. Determine the sum of all values of x. So just think, there's only like a few points that a triangle and a circle could intersect. So a circle could be like outside, like they could be outside, so it could be 0, or there's just one point, like that. That's 1. Or there could be like 2 points, so it's like it gets one side in, so that's 2. So I'm not gonna draw the entire picture, but usually, if you just think about it, like if they overlap, then it's just gonna be something like this, and it goes through like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it goes through 6 points. That means every single point below it should also be possible. If you just think about it logically, let's just do like a 5, which is like this. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it must be able to work for every single one because you could just adjust the design. So it's just from like, so the lowest possible points is that it's 0 because like if they both don't intersect until they fully intersect is 6. So it's from 0 to 6. So we have to find all the sums there. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm not gonna include 0 because 0 is nothing. So that's 3, that's 6, that's 10, that's 15, that's 21. So the answer is just 21. 16 in diagram below, if triangles, let me clear this first, sorry. If triangles U, V, W is equilateral and U, V, Y is a right triangle, then angle U, W, Y is scaling, isosceles, equilateral, and can't be determined. So which one is it? So basically, we're just gonna draw the picture out first. So we're gonna say this is A, B, and C because that's usually how like a right triangle works. So since this is B, that means this also has to be B, and that's also B. But I'm not gonna draw that out because I'm just gonna focus on the angles. So since this has an equilateral angle, that means this has to be 60 degrees, this is 60 degrees, and this is 60 degrees. Since this is the right angle, this has to be at 30 degrees. And since this is a line, that means this has to be 120 degrees. So 120 plus 30 is 150, and this also has to be 30 because they have to add up to 180. You see how two angles are the same? That means it's isosceles. So the answer is just isosceles. It's really just that easy. You just gotta look for the angle. If you either prove it using angles or using sides. Since I recognize that you just need to use angles, like there's just no point spreading sides as I did earlier. So it's pretty easy also. Find all possible parameters of a isosceles triangle with side lengths 3a plus 2a plus 5 and 3a minus 2. So with side lengths that. So basically what it's saying since it's an isosceles triangle, 2 of the side lengths have to be the same. So it's, let's say it's 3a is equal to 2a plus 5. That means a has to equal to 5. So does that work for all? That's 15. That's 10. That's 15. Yes, that's 20. Minus 2, 18. Yes, so a is equal to 5. That works. So let's say what happens if a is equal, 3a is equal to 4a minus 2. So a is equal to 2. Does that work? That's 6, that's 4, that's 9, that's 8, and that's 6. So that's 6, 6, and 9. So that works. So this works, and this works. And now we have to check, let me just write the parameter first for these, because they might be the same parameter, and you don't want to overlap. So this is 15, 15, and a 18. So that's 30, and that's 48. So the parameter is 48. A is 2 for this one, so that's 6, and that's 9, and that's also 6. So that's 12 and 21. And now we have 2x plus 5, 2a, sorry, plus 5 is equal to 4a minus 2. So you minus 2a from both sides, add 2 is 7, and then a equals 7 over 2. So, sorry it's a diagonal, I'm writing it diagonally. So, 7 over 2 here would be 21 over 2. And this one would be 7 and 12. So that's, and both those side lengths are 12. 12 and a 12. So that is like 10.5, I think. Yep. So that's 24. So that's 34.5. Find all possible parameters. So these are all the possible parameters. 21, 48, and 34.5. Doesn't look like a decimal, but it is. So basically, that's what you do. Since you just gotta figure out the isosceles, and you put 2 of the side lengths together, and they're the only 3 combinations. Because you can't be like 4a minus 2 is equal to 3a. Because you already got it in 3a equals 4a minus 2. So there's only 3. So it's only this one to this one, this one to this one, and this one to this one. 18. Let mn be the maximum number of intersections of n parallel lines, and of n distinct lines, not parallel lines. Find the value of m of 100 and m of 98. So we gotta think about let's just think of how it works. So it's m be the number of intersections between n distinct lines. So if we have one line, it's just 1. So, okay. If we have one line, it's just one line, right? So 1 is equal to 1. 0 intersections, because there's no intersections. If you have one line, you have 1. This is 1. Now, if we have 2 lines, we could draw it like right here. So that makes 3. Oops, I wrote that wrong. 2 lines is 1. Because, let's extend this out. And we draw a line like this, and you have 3. Nah, because you have 1 right here. Now, if we have 3 lines, you could draw 3. Now, think of what happens when you have 4 lines. We want to cross all 3 of these lines, so we do something like this. So it's 1, 2, 3. So those 3 plus the previous 3 would make 6. You see how this number kind of like increasing, but it seems like it's a pattern? Let's think about it. We have 0, 1, 3, and 6. That makes 1. That makes, the difference is 1, the difference is 2, and the difference is 3. And this is difference 1, and this is also difference of 1. So you could kind of see that it's going to be a quadratic function. And now you just need to find that quadratic function. So what you could do is that you could put it in a spreadsheet in your calculator and make a regression. That's what I usually do. And if I see like a polynomial and I can make a regression out of it, I'm going to make a regression. So it's 1, 0, 2, 1, 3, 3, and 4, 6. If you already know what the equation is, that's fine too. But like, if you don't know, what you like to do is just always make a regression. Like, it kind of works all the time, constantly. Well, of like the ones I know. So it's a quadratic, and the function you get is 1/2 x squared plus 1/2 x. So that's the maximum amount all the time. So if we have m of 100, let's just plug it into our equation. So 100 squared divided by 2 plus 100 divided by 2 is 5050. And if we have 98, sorry, my calculator's loading. 98 squared divided by 2 plus 98 divided by 2 is 4851. So 5050 minus 4851 is 199, which is not the answer. Wait, am I writing this wrong? Is my regression right? Let me look at my regression. Sometimes when you get the answer wrong, you mostly just I have the answer key right next to me, so that's why I know. Oh, sorry, it's not plus 1/2 x. It's, sorry, I read that wrong. Minus 1/2 x. So plug it back in. 100 squared divided by 2 plus 100 divided by 2 minus 100 by 2, and then which is 4950, and you get 98 squared divided by 2 minus 98 divided by 2 is 4753. Subtract the new numbers and you get 197. So sorry about that, but so see, that's the answer. The reason I said that I have the answer right next to me is that I'm also looking at the answers to make sure I'm right, just so you get the correct answer, so I'm not showing like the wrong work. So that's basically how you do it. Like I know how to solve these questions, so it's not really that hard. So far, like, these questions aren't really that difficult, except like maybe number 18, kind of. But it's not them, or like, if you just know your geometry, then you should be fine. In how many ways can a straight angle be divided into two or more congruent angles of integral measure? For example, two ways would be 3 times 60 and 4 times 45. So our angle is 180 degrees. So what it's asking is that how many ways can we split this? In another way, in another interpretation, would it be like how many ways can like some numbers multiply together to like get that like thing? So how many? So what you want to do is that you want to factor 180. So let's say what it could be factored. So 180 divided by 2 is 90. So it's 2 times 90. And could be factored to 2 to 4 to 5. And it could factor be 3 and 15, which is also 3 and 5. So overall, it's 2 times 2 times 3 times 2 times 5. So is that correct? 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 5, which is correct, 180. The number of ways that you could find out how many ways it could multiply to 180 is that there's a general formula. It's just a 1 plus every single exponent of the bases, and then you just multiply them together. So it's just 2 plus 1, which is 3, and then 2 times 2 plus 1, which is also 3, and this is 1. So 1 plus 1 is 2. So sorry. So those are our three numbers. So it's 9 times 9 times 2. So that's 9 and 18. So we gotta think about it. We gotta think of like these are all the possible factors. So if you think about it, it'll be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and all the way up to numbers like 180, 90, and stuff. So there's 18 factors of these numbers. So you gotta think of which ones don't make sense. So like, can you, since it has to be two or more integral measures, you can't have a 180-degree measure because it's only one angle. So that's not gonna work. So you got -1. That makes 17. All these other ones work because you could have like two angles that are both 90 degrees, 100 and 80 angles with each of them 1 degrees, or 90 angles with 2 degrees, and 60 angles with 3 degrees. You can just think about it. So the only one that does make sense is the 180 degree one, which is only one angle. So that is so the answer is just 17, as I said, because 18 minus 1. So that's how you do it. Like, if you don't know how to do this, like, this is basically just for you to like understand like like how it works, like how I would think about it, because I'm fairly decent in geometry, so this is how like it kind of is typical. So far, like this would be the hardest question if you don't know how to if you don't know exactly what the question is asking. Because if you don't know what it's asking, you kind of interpret it a different way. Question 20. The hour and minute hands of a clock form a right triangle at 9 o'clock. To the nearest second, when is the next time when the hands form a right angle? So if you think about it, you have like a circle. So right now it's at here and here. The hour hand is right here, our hands here. So it's actually gonna make a 9 o'clock. So when will it make another 9 o'clock? Since the hour hand is moving slower than the minute hand, that means let's say like it's right here, right? For the hour hand, the minute hand would be like somewhere over here, and it's gonna be over 120 degrees. So the time that's gonna make it 90 degrees is gonna be like when the hour hand's like somewhere around here, and then it's gonna make it like a minute hand's like right here because it's moving around, and it'll make a 90 degrees right then and there. So that's what we're gonna look for. We're gonna look for that time. So uh it's not gonna be 10 o'clock. You know it's gonna be less than 10 o'clock because if you do like here and you have like the hour hand is right here and the minute hand is right here and it's moving, right? By the time like it's 10 o'clock, it's only gonna move like to right here, but the minute hand will already cross that time again. That means there should be about like a point here that it makes a 90. So you know it's not 10 o'clock. So if everyone ever asks, is not 10. It's not that easy. So what you gotta do is that you gotta find out the position of like the ticks when I explained earlier in some of the questions. You gotta find the tick of the hour hand first. So you're already at the 9 o'clock, so multiply by 5 because how many ticks there are. So that's at the 45th tick plus how many is it moving? So it's the hour hand is moving 5 ticks for every 60 ticks of the minute hand. So let's say X is the amount of ticks that the minute hand is moving. So if you think about it in the picture, right? Whatever that position is, this gotta be the position of our hand. So the position of the X hand would just be X, right? So it's moving like right here. So it's gonna be like down here ish. So that's X, and this would be over here. So then you just have to find the angles. You just subtract them, right? So you're just gonna subtract that, and since that gives you the amount of ticks, and there's 60 ticks in a circle, and a circle is 360 degrees. Remember, I said before you have to multiply the thing by 6, and that should get the 90 degrees. So divide by 6 from both sides, you get 9 times 5. Let's just write 45. Just really know that's a thing. Minus x, so that's minus 11. That's 5 over 60 is 11 over 12. X is equal to 15. So minus the 30 equals 11 over 12x. So 30 times 12 divided by 11 is equal to x. So using your calculator, 30 times 12 divided by 11 is equal to 32. Use your calculator right now, like actually use it. So now you write the 32, you're gonna get some decimals. So do not simplify. Actually do not like round. So whatever you get as your decimal, subtract 32 from it because that's gonna be your degrees. And then for that remaining, it's gonna be like 0.7272 7272 repeating, and you just multiply that by like 60, and you get 43. Actually you're gonna round up because it's 43 with like 0.6 something, so it's gonna be 44. So that's gonna be your seconds. That's your minute. That's your minute, and these are your seconds. So you're gonna have since you're already at 9 hours, so the time is it really moved like 32 minutes and 44 seconds. So the time would be 9 hours. Let me erase because I'm running out of space. It's 9 hours and 32 minutes and 44 seconds. So that's the answer. So that completes every single question for the CCML Geometry Constants 1 2016-2017 Division A. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you at the next math record video.